What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on in to One TS Daily right here at One True Sport. I am Zack Heydorn from Brass Ring Media. I'm your host of the show. Super pumped to be here. Happy Wednesday. Thanks so much for joining us today to talk a little pro wrestling. We're live right here on the One True Sport YouTube channel with One TS Daily every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 11 Eastern. And we talk the news of the day, the news of the week. We're reviewing shows, we're previewing shows, we talk about it all. So you've come to the right place. And, make an appointment viewing. We're here always. Make sure you catch us every single day to talk wrestling. I've got the live chat open, guys. We got people filing in right now. Hello to everybody who's listening and watching on YouTube. Hello to everybody who's listening and watching on Twitter. If you've downloaded this after the fact as a podcast and you're a One True Sport member who has the ability to do that, hello to you as well. Thanks so much for hitting play on the show and supporting One True Sport. If you're interested in One True Sport's membership, head to onetruesport.com right now, and you can check out all of our membership tiers. We've got all sorts of different tiers where you can become a One True Sport member, have the access to some of the biggest stars in the wrestling industry. Kurt Angle's a part of the channel. Arn Anderson's a part of the channel. Medusa's a part of the channel. Rob Van Dam. You get all sorts of access to those guys. And you just got to be a One True Sport member to do that. So it's onetruesport.com. If you're able, please hit subscribe on our channel. You don't want to miss all the free videos and free content that we have going up here on YouTube every single day. It's a ton of stuff and you don't want to miss it. So hit subscribe, turn on those notifications. If you're watching on YouTube right now and wouldn't mind just giving that old like button a click, giving that thumbs up button a click, it helps us out greatly. So thank you in advance for doing that. I do appreciate it. If you're on YouTube and you're wondering, what is that Brass Ring Media thing? That's my shop. That's my little pro wrestling analysis shop. You can head to Brass Ring Media on YouTube and Substack for free, totally free, and check out our longer form analysis of current events in pro wrestling. So we talk about it all: AEW, WWE, NXT, New Japan. I mean, we really talk about it all. We take a longer form kind of look at it, but I think you'll like it if you like this show and you like the conversation we have here on a regular basis. So just search Brass Ring Media on YouTube. I'd appreciate it. You can get more of me there, my team there. You can also find my written work on Substack with Brass Ring Media. Just search Brass Ring Media Substack to find that. Hello to everybody in the chat. Amy is in there. What's going on, Amy? Amy says, woohoo, made it. Yeah, good to see you. Glad you're able to join us live on this show. I do appreciate it. Good to see you, Amy. Thanks for being here. We got a lot to discuss today, guys. We got a couple of news stories that I want to hit. Also want to talk last night's episode of NXT and also preview tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite ahead of the pay-per-view this weekend, All Out, which is right in my backyard. I'm going to be at the show. I should have a good, strong in-person report for you guys on Monday's episode of One TS Daily. So look forward to that. Friday, we will preview All Out in full. So mark your calendars. If you're not able to typically listen to the show live, you should listen Friday. Give us a try. Listen live, tune in. We're going to preview All Out start to finish. Just get ready for that show, which should shaping up to be a pretty darn good one. All right, before we get into anything, let's talk about Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan. And I debated whether even to bring this up, but I did decide to bring it up to talk about because it's relevant for a handful of reasons. First of all, Hulk Hogan was on the Logan Paul podcast yesterday, Impulsive, and he talked about a lot of things. He talked about his run. He talked about Logan Paul as a wrestler. He also broke news and said he signed a 5-year deal with WWE, kind of like that Ambassador Legends deal, merch, things of that nature. So that he's going to be with the company for quite some time. Again, I'm not sure what value he has. at this point to WWE outside of that. But this is what he said on the Impulsive podcast in regards to his WWE situation. I've signed a 5-year deal. I'm going to be 71 years old in a few weeks. I signed a 5-year deal for the licensing and merchandising stuff and the ambassador stuff. If they need me to do something for WrestleMania, I just love doing it. It's definitely different. So he's committed to WWE for 5 years. Again, it's more of a deal for licensing and merchandising, and that needs to be said. This is not an active wrestler contract. But on the same podcast, on the same exact podcast, just a little bit later, Hogan, compared, he compared some of his mistakes, as he called them, to the Chris Benoit situation, and surmised that fans forgave him just like they forgave Chris Benoit. And this is the quote. If Chris Benoit can do all of the crap he did and the fans still love him, why not me? They are forgiving. I've made some major mistakes. They are very, very forgiving. Now, I just fundamentally am flabbergasted by that comment by Hulk Hogan. First and foremost, fans have not forgiven Chris Benoit. Like, that's not a collective thing that I think fans have done. They just haven't. So it's silly to even like bring that to the forefront and try to, gaslight people into thinking that, oh yeah, fans have forgiven Chris Benoit. They haven't. Chris Benoit matches for me are impossible to watch these days. I know there are pockets of folks out there that can watch Chris Benoit matches. I know there are folks out there that can kind of separate the man from what he did. I think that's crazy. I think that's just wild. I think that's just impossible, to do that. I think it's one thing to do that in certain instances when somebody makes a mistake, but doing what Chris Benoit did, that's not a mistake. Like, that is one of the worst things you can do as a person on this earth. And it's the worst thing you can do. And I don't think that you just get to call out and determine that, hey, fans have forgiven him. No way. Absolutely not. And I think he should be really ashamed of himself for trying to compare his situation to that. Plus, his situation is different. He said some really awful things, and he deserves what he has gotten for that and what he continues to get for that. The Benoit situation is on a whole other level. Like, it's on a whole other level. And I just, it just shows incredibly poor judgment and somebody who's just out of touch when you think about Hulk Hogan. It's just, when you say something like that and make those kind of comments, you just wonder, like, what planet he's living on, because it's absolutely insane to again, the premise itself that fans have forgiven Chris Benoit, they haven't. And then, Hogan comparing his situation to that situation. It's just, it's really, really poor judgment. And it makes, if I was WWE, I would look at what he said there and go, man, not sure about that 5-year deal. Not sure about that 5-year deal at this point. Like, what can you trust him to say out there? Like, if he's out there trying to be an ambassador for the company, and this is the kind of things he put out there, you can't trust him. He's not in tune with what's going on. And it's just was really, really troubling to see that happen. Hello to Squared Circle, who just joined us in the chat. He says, Zach, what's going on? And Mr. Porky jumps in here and says, the guy recently said horrible things racially. If you're going to be racist, at least get the race right. Yeah, I mean, He did. We talked about Hulk Hogan not too long ago on this show about that little tirade that he went on, and that furthers my point here, which is you signed Hulk Hogan to a 5-year deal to kind of be an ambassador. I don't know that he's got any business being an ambassador for WWE in 2024. He certainly doesn't, based on these comments, on these things that he's said, and that he's okay, saying. I mean, it's something. It's something. And again, if I'm WWE, I'm looking at this going, huh? What's the point? Like, what are we really doing here? What are we really doing with him, and what value does he have? And I think that question would be totally justified. So shame on him for that. Other news: Adam Copeland talked with Sports Illustrated, and he chatted about his recovery from a broken leg, and had a long quote about his return to the ring and when he thinks that might be. Long story short, he doesn't really know. And the quote to Sports Illustrated was, "It feels really good. I got the surgery. I guess it was June 1st by the time I finally got the surgery done. So I guess yesterday was 3 months. I never broke my leg before, so I didn't know what that entails or what that entailed. With my Achilles, it was a process. This is not that, which is good, because the Achilles, I was working 8 hours a day on that thing. It became a full-time job, and I got back in 6 months, but it was a lot of grinding teeth. This isn't that more than anything. It's trying to get power back and flexibility from bringing your toe to your knee. That's the last area that doesn't want to go yet, because the plate goes down to the ankle because it was a lower fracture. It was a lower tibia fracture. So that plate butts up against the ankle bone. I think that'll be what I need to get through in order to be able to get all that power back. I don't know what a time frame is. I don't know any of that. I know that I can walk, get in the ring, and move around a little bit, but I still feel the deficiency. So I know I still have some work to do to return to where I need to be." So there's Adam Copeland. The interesting part about this quote to me was he's coming back. Like, it didn't seem like he is hedging on whether or not he's going to try to come back. And again, that's a pretty bad injury for somebody of his age. And so in my mind, I thought, hey, okay, likely to come back, of course. But, there's always that question as to whether he actually will, or whether he really truly wants to go through all the recovery that's needed. And it sounds like, based on this quote and this interview, that he will be coming back. And I think there's a lot of cool, there's still a lot of good matches for him to have when he comes back. I mean, we still need to see, I think there's a big Adam Copeland MJF feud in the works, or that not in the works, but that's on the table. I think the fact that Okada is there is something that you want to do at some point. I think Hangman Page and Adam Copeland is a match that you want to do. If Kenny Omega comes back, that's a match that you want to do. So you have pretty big matches on the table for Copeland. You have a reunion with Christian potentially on the table if you want to go down that route. So there's a lot of business that he can do, a lot of stuff that's available to him. And so, if I were him, I'd be angling for a return as well, given all that business that's on the table for him. The Squared Circle here is saying, "Did you see Purple Sky 11's research on the Benoit case, page by page? I think the fans want to forgive Benoit because they feel the murders were not as they appeared. The research is crazy thorough." I don't know who Purple Sky 11 is, and no, I haven't seen it, and it doesn't matter how they appeared. I mean, it really doesn't matter how they appeared. He murdered his wife and kid. That's the story. That's the reality, period. And that's how he needs to be judged moving forward. And I don't think wrestling fans want to forgive or should forgive. I mean, that's crazy. So no, sorry, Squared Circle, but I fundamentally disagree on this point for sure. All right, let's talk about NXT last night, because we had some movement in terms of upcoming episodes. We've had some movement as to what they're going to put on for the big debut on the CW network here in a couple weeks. But the results were as follows. The Rascals defeated Hank and Tank and Gallus. So they are the new number 1 contenders for the NXT Tag Team titles. Lexis King got a win over Ora Mensa. Tatum Paxley defeated TNA star Rosemary. Pete Dunne and Trick Williams ended in a double countout. So kind of a shenanigan finish there that leads certainly to another match. Javon Evans beat Joe Coffey. Obafemi beat Stax Lorenzo. Jada Parker defeated Jasmine Nix. Roxanne Perez had a moment in the ring where she called out Julia, but was instead interrupted by Chelsea Green, who was then attacked by Julia. And then the show ended with Julia challenging Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. That match will take place on the debut of NXT on the CW network. So pretty that's an interesting match to put on that show. It's going to be in Chicago. They're advertising CM Punk for that show as well. So I think that's a really smart match to put on that show. First of all, Punk's going to get a lot of eyeballs. Second, you know that Chicago audience, most of them, if they're going out to an NXT show, I think that a lot of those fans in Chicago will know who Julia is, and and understand the gravity of the match against Roxanne Perez. Plus, that match is certain to be excellent and certain to be a top-notch match. So I think that's a really smart match. It gives them a few weeks here to build it up. They can build up Julia. They can build up the feud. And, and then they can pad that show with Punk and other main roster talent that maybe some casual viewers of NXT will tune in to see. And then at the same time, they get to see this really great match between Julia and Roxanne Perez. So smart booking, really smart booking. And they're clearly trying to beef up, to beef up the debut on the CW network. And so if you thought that they were just going to kind of pack it in and go, all right, we got our money and that's that, no, they want to make a difference here. They definitely want to draw a rating and to draw some eyes. And I think this match proves that. I like the dynamic between Roxanne Perez and Julia already. I think they've got chemistry. Like when they get in the ring together, even when the 2 times now they've come face to face in the ring, there is tension. There is just kind of like this big fight feel between them. And I think that that's a really interesting thing to see. And I think it's going to be fun to watch them, leverage that for their match. I want to know if you're in the chat and you're able to answer this question, just drop me a thumbs up or thumbs down. How many people in the chat here that are watching live, and we got a lot of you today, how many of you know Julia? And how many of you know Julia's work? Like when I say that name, does it ring a bell? Like, do you know who I'm talking about? Have you seen some of the stuff she's done in the ring? I'm curious about that because, she doesn't have, she's not a mainstream pro wrestling star. She was a Stardom star, and Stardom is Stardom. I mean, it's a good company, and if you are watching Joshi Wrestling, she's certainly a top star in that space, but she doesn't have a lot of mainstream notoriety yet. And so they need to do a lot in the next few weeks to build her up and tell her story. Why do people care? Why is she as big of a star as she is? Why is she getting a title shot? Those are all hoops that NXT and Shawn Michaels have to go through. Amy's just giving me the thumbs up. All right, so Amy knows her. But not a lot of people do, is my point. And they have to do the work and put in the work to make sure that people, understand who she is and why this match is such a big deal. They don't want to assume that, Talk to Tony Khan, right? Too much assuming about the kind of international talent he's brought in, and they haven't made an impact. You don't want to do that if you're WWE. You want to make sure that you leverage that talent and make sure you get the most out of them. And so they need to tell that story with Julia. All right, let's move on and let's talk Let's see here. Yeah, let's preview AEW. Gosh, we're already almost running out of time. That's crazy. So it'll be in Milwaukee tonight. Announced for this show are a handful of matches, really. Kazuchika Okada is going to defend his AEW Continental Championship against Kyle Fletcher. Fletcher getting a win on Collision in order to kind of secure this opportunity. Mariah May is going to defend her AEW Women's Championship against Nyla Rose. And then it's going to be Will Ospreay, Kyle O'Reilly, and Orange Cassidy against Pac, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta in a non-title trios match. So a lot of like this certainly is going to have more added to it. There's no question. We're going to get follow-up on Jack Perry, and Bryan Danielson from last week. That's going to happen. I think we're going to get more from MJF and Daniel Garcia. Like that's going to happen. I think, we'll get more from Mercedes Moné. That's going to be on this show too. But from a match perspective, yikes, this is very light. I mean, Mariah May and Nyla Rose. I mean, god dang, like how many times is this going to happen to new AEW Women's World Champions? Like you win the title and then you immediately face Nyla Rose. Like, and when Nyla Rose hasn't been on television in months, like, and now all of a sudden she has a title match and we're supposed to take the match seriously. Like, you're not fooling anybody. Not fooling anybody with this. We know what's going to happen. We know how this is going to go, and it's just silly. At this point in time, I mean, if Nyla Rose is going to be someone that challenges for world titles, she's got to be on TV more and she's got to be winning matches more. And it just has to be how it is. Otherwise, you just roll your eyes when you see this announcement. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. Okada and Kyle Fletcher, going to be a heck of a match for sure. Going to be a big, I think probably you're looking at the main event here, and it's going to be really good in the ring. But like that's about all it'll be. Kyle Fletcher is a low to mid card guy. Okada, is pulling away doing comedy stuff. And he's going to have this match, and it's going to be what it is. But there's no oomph behind this title match. And then the real weird one is that third trios match: Will Ospreay, Kyle O'Reilly, and Orange Cassidy against Claudio, Wheeler, and Pac. I mean, Pac, Claudio, and Wheeler were just newly crowned babyface trios champions. Like, what? Why are they wrestling another babyface team in Ospreay, O'Reilly, and Orange Cassidy? Like, I get that. I understand Ospreay's going to wrestle Pac at All Out, but just have them wrestle it all out or cut a promo or something. Like, I don't think you need to do this match. You're asking people to choose between like two babyface squads, and why? It doesn't make sense at this point in time. So I'm not a fan of that match, even though you can see exactly what exactly what they're going for. I understand that, but it's just silly. Just a silly match to go to at this point in time. So that's it. I'm going to check Twitter here to see if they've announced anything else since we've been talking here about AEW Dynamite tonight. Let me do a quick search here. All right, All Elite Wrestling. Okay, let's see if they added anything else. Mariah May, Nyla Rose. We got the trios match, and Okada versus Fletcher. Yeah, that's it. That's all they have so far. So there you go. Big pay-per-view coming up. They still hit a home run tonight. They still need to sell like some of their big matches. I mean, they don't have they have hardly any time to build this card to begin with, but you still very much need to put the effort in. I mean, these are the matches that are announced currently for All Out. Danielson versus Perry for the World Championship, Ospreay versus Pac, Nightingale versus Chris Statlander, Swerve versus Adam Page in a steel cage, and MJF versus Daniel Garcia. So, I mean, out of all those matches, I mean, when you go through the card here, Bryan Danielson and Jack Perry, okay, we're definitely gonna get like more build to that. But they set the hook pretty good last week, and we know what's at play. And Danielson isn't losing to Jack Perry, so there's no reason to put too much effort into that one. AEW International Championship, Ospreay versus Pac. We've got that weird six-man. Nothing advertised right now for MJF and Daniel Garcia tonight. Nothing advertised for Willow and Statlander tonight. Nothing advertised for Swerve and Adam Page tonight. And nothing advertised for Mercedes Moné and Hikaru Shida tonight. So that's a lot of talent that you need to do something with on this show. And so even though there's not a lot announced, they got a lot to do, especially that Swerve and Hangman feud. I mean, they've got to add another chapter to that before they go to the big blow off cage match at the pay-per-view. So they got to add a lot to that. And I think, they will. I think they will. They're not like, look, these matches aren't certainly not going to take up the whole show. So yeah, look out for more talking segments, vignettes, and things of that nature, so that they not only can fill out the card tonight, but also so that they can really, put a good go-home effort together for the show to try to sell some pay-per-views. Steven the Dude is in the chat talking about Kyle Fletcher. It says Fletcher was better in a tag team. I'm not saying Fletcher is bad, just as a singles wrestler, I think he hasn't found his character yet. 100%. I mean, 100% that he hasn't found that character yet. And really, I mean, how could he? I mean, he needs to work on the character and be, a character of some kind, but they've just totally pulled him this direction and that direction in terms of how he's defined. Like, he's a heel in the Don Callis family, but then he's out there as a babyface, kind of defending Will Ospreay and wrestling MJF. That there's no definition there. He's just somebody that kind of goes back and forth. And I mean, how does that work? That can't work for anybody. You can't find your voice in a situation like that. You can't find your character in a situation like that because you're constantly having to change your constitution as a personality and as a character. So, yes, it's on him, but it's also on the booking. And frankly, Steven, they're just not focused on him right now. He is a role player. He's a pawn on the chessboard. And they use him as they see fit in order to further whatever else they're doing that they're using him for. And in some ways that's fine because you need those talents on your roster. But I think Fletcher does have some upside. And so if you want to realize that upside, you have to pick a lane with them. And Sean is commenting on this as well. Sean says here, "What's up, guys? What's going on, Sean?" He says, they just throw random matches out there. What has Fletcher done to earn a title shot? Build to the show this weekend. Yeah, exactly. Well, they'll tell you, Sean, that he earned an opportunity by winning a couple matches on Collision the last couple of weeks. But I certainly wouldn't tell you that. There needs to be more here. There needs to be more here without question. And same thing with Nyla Rose. Sean says, I like Nyla, but what has she done to earn a title shot? Yeah, nothing. Hasn't even been on TV. So that's just as bad, if not worse, than the Fletcher thing. Because I know it is worse. At least Fletcher's been around. He's wrestling. He's, relevant-ish on television. And Nyla just hasn't had that. And so I think that one is a lot more egregious than Fletcher. But both need work. If you want people to invest, you got to give people a reason to. And in these matches tonight that are announced, there just is no reason to invest in any of them. And I think that will matter, when the rating comes out eventually. There we go, folks. Thanks so much. We'll wrap up right there. Appreciate you guys. I will be back tomorrow, 11 Eastern. We'll be on the road tomorrow, so I'll do a little outside show. May have the old sunglasses on because it's bright here in Chicago in the morning. So yeah, but I'll see you all then. So thanks so much for being here. If you can, head over to Brass Ring Media, hit subscribe on our YouTube channel if you want more shows with a little bit of a longer form touch. And a bunch of great co-hosts, though, doing that style of wrestling analysis. You definitely want to subscribe to Brasherie Media, totally free. And to do that, just head over to Brasherie Media on YouTube, hit subscribe, check out our written work. On Substack, we've got a daily newsletter that goes out every single day. You can check that out there as well. So just Brasherie Media Substack, and Google will be the first thing that pops up. I hope that you do. I mean, we get some really cool written work and from me and others. And I just hope you check it out because I think it's really, really good stuff. OneTrueSport.com is your place to take your One True Sport experience to the next level. You can check out our membership options. You can also check out our merch store, which is there too. And we've got some cool, really cool 1TS daily merch. I'm going to flash them up on the screen right now. Bam! Look at that. Hats, shirts, different colors. I mean, man, it's up there and it's waiting for you. It's waiting for you guys. So check that out right now. Oh, geez, I just put up the wrong frame. What am I thinking? Can't do that. Come on, Zach. There we go. There's the right frame. So check it out, OneTrueSport.com. Thanks so much, you guys. Appreciate it. Always a blast talking with you. Sean says, look at that hat. It's game week. It's game week. The NFL season is on, and I will wear this Bears hat until the Bears are out of playoff contention. Not even really by the numbers, but just by my perception and impression. Like last year, they're 0-4. I took the Bears hat off. And just said, forget it. Season's over. This year, it's back on. We're ready for a big season. We'll talk a little NFL as the show goes on throughout NFL season. Sean says, go Pack. Oh, goodness. Where's the mute button at? Where's that mute button at? I got to throw the mute button up on Sean for the next 18 weeks. Nah, I'm just kidding, man. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all. We'll see you tomorrow, 11 Eastern, right here on 1TS Daily, One True Sport. Have a great day. Later.